Greetings, jovial, philosophical, lucky Sagittarius. My name is Eliane Nicole. I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader. And now I am going to get into the June 2019 overview forecast for Sagittarius. And I'm going to do some tarot cards, and I'm also going to do an astrological forecast, talk about some of the transits. And please subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and watch the video for your sun, moon, and rising. And if you don't know your sun, moon, and rising, you should definitely contact me for a reading. Everyone should have their chart done at least once in their life. It's a great tool for self-awareness and self-discovery. And if you've had your chart done, getting transit readings every once in a while is a great tune-up. And so now I'm going to get into, so at the beginning of June, Sagittarius, you were showing up as the hermit. So you may be spending some time alone, going inside, getting in touch with your inner GPS system. This card is about maturity and wisdom. It can be about aging. Sometimes it has to do literally with dealing with an old person or an elderly person. But when it's not that, it's the more figurative expression of your own maturity and wisdom developing. And it's covered by the Ten of Swords. So it looks like Sagittarius is experiencing a completion of some kind at the beginning of June. And you are crossed by the Hierophant. And so that has to do with morals, values, sometimes commitments, sometimes traditions. And it can also have to do with institutions or organizations. Sometimes it can be an institution like the church or a school, a hospital, a government organization, or it can be dealing with someone like a priest, a doctor, someone who's related to an institution, a teacher, things like that. So that's what crosses Sagittarius in June. So it looks like you will be dealing with something around that in that month. And the basis of the situation, Sagittarius, it looks like there may be something that you've been avoiding, perhaps that you were trying to escape and turn your back on. What's leaving is judgment. And this is just things coming to a head in a certain situation. What could come into being is the Lovers reversed. So this could be some relationship issues for Sagittarius. If you're in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship, maybe it could be that you're having concerns around that, or something isn't working out in that realm. That's a possibility around the 18th. What will come into being is the moon. And so the moon is about, deep emotions, reflections. It can be very vivid dreams, around the 20th to the 23rd of June. It's the subconscious. Sometimes it can be the mother. It's the feminine principles. So that is coming up for Sagittarius around the 20th to the 23rd of June. And then fears or insecurities. It looks like you're resisting something, looking at the past through a rearview mirror. Others see you as making boundaries around family, residence, security, wealth, those kinds of issues. Positive feelings. You have a positive feelings about a big shakeup that's happening, a possible paradigm shift or shakeup of some kind. And the outcome is, at the end of the month, Sagittarius, it looks like you are guarding your territory, 9 of Rods. And sometimes that can be That territory, I've seen it in readings, represent people's like residence, their job. It can be your heart as well. So that is where we find Sagittarius at the end of June, according to the tarot. And now I'm going to get a little bit into the planets. As we enter the month of June, the Sun and Mercury are in Gemini. The Moon, Venus, and Uranus are all in Taurus. Mars and the North Node are in Cancer. Saturn and Pluto are both in Capricorn, both retrograde. Jupiter is in Sagittarius retrograde. Neptune is in Pisces. And Chiron is in Aries. And so basically, the first major thing about that June is June 3rd is the new moon of Gemini. And anything going on in Gemini is significant to Sagittarius because Gemini opposes Sagittarius on the zodiac. So whenever there are Gemini aspects going on for Sagittarius, these are times when there's just so much to learn. These are big growth spurts for Sagittarius. They're potential growth spurts. If you resist it, it can be times where you experience a lot of resistance. But if you embrace it, it can be a time of great growth spurts. And the new moon of Gemini, I call this the writer's new moon. If you follow me, if you've watched my videos, you know that new moons are incredibly rich and fertile spiritual soil to plant the seeds of intention that you want to manifest in the material realm. And each new moon has its own themes that it particularly supports energetically. And the Gemini new moon is the communicator's new moon. It is the new moon of communication. So anything around writing, speaking, thoughts, ideas, any intentions around those kinds of issues, you set under the Gemini new moon. And for me, I do an altar. And if you're interested in being on my altar, please contact me. I'm able to have a handful of clients each month included on my altar. And what that includes is candles, flowers, crystals, writing of intentions that you want to manifest. And it's a very powerful time. If you have a writing project that you want to begin, any kind of writing, whether it's a novel, a play, a script, a song, a poem, an essay, a thesis, whatever it is that you're writing, a log line, I don't know. Set the intentions under this Gemini new moon. Also, if you have a public speaking engagement, or you are having any place where you want to express yourself, you can set these intentions with the Gemini new moon. If there's someone who you haven't been speaking to for a long time, who you'd like to clear up communication with, or someone who you've recently had an argument with, who you want to clear up communication with, it's great to set those intentions under the Gemini new moon. If there's just someone in general that you have communication issues with that you wish to smooth out, set those intentions around the Gemini new moon. Also, Gemini rules the nervous system. So if you want to set any intentions around anxiety or nervousness, it's a great time to do it under the Gemini new moon. This gardener outside is giving me a little anxiety and nervousness because it's just creating this buzz of a sound in the background of our video, but I'm gonna keep plugging through. So yeah, that is the new moon of Gemini. I think I hit the big points of Gemini, and that's at 12 degrees Gemini. So for Sagittarius, anyone who's from 10 degrees to 14 degrees Sagittarius, you're really, I mean, this is, you're going to be feeling this. There's a lot to learn for you under this new moon, and I really strongly encourage you to, harness its energy and set any intentions you have around communications. June 4th, Mercury enters Cancer. That's a very watery Mercury. It's not Sagittarius's favorite Mercury, but in general, collectively, You know, we have a better memory during this time. People tend to think about the past, communicate about the past. Mercury in Cancer, overall, people are communicating more intuitively, more emotionally based communication. People are talking more about issues around the mother, the feminine principle, mysticism, also security, privacy, things like that. And June 6th, Jupiter is forming a sexquiquadrate with Uranus, and this is very important. So Sagittarius, yes, there's a lot going on for Sagittarius because Jupiter is really moving around a lot, making some significant aspects this month. And so Jupiter with the in 19 degrees Sagittarius sexquiquadrate, Uranus at 4 degrees Taurus. So anyone who from 17 degrees to, you know, I'll say 16 degrees to 21 degrees Sagittarius, you know, it entered around May 23rd and it's exact on June 6th, and it kind of starts to go out June 15th. But this is an important aspect for you. It's restlessness, rebelliousness, taking foolish risks for the sake of freedom. And it's not good for financial speculation. So June 8th, Venus enters Gemini. And again, you know, Gemini is opposing Sagittarius. So there's a lot to learn during this period about romance, creativity, beauty, art, all of these Venusian themes for Sagittarius during the time that Gemini is transiting. And collectively, because Venus is romance and attraction and also creativity, Gemini is intellectual curiosity, Gemini is mental, Gemini is communicative. So, you know, people who are single are going to be very romantically curious at this time. We are going to be attracted to people that stimulate us mentally at this time. If you're in a relationship, you and your partner are going to be bonding and attracted to each other on the intellectual, mental level at this time. You might be communicating about your relationship in a way. You might be love letters, you know, any kind of written or verbal communication around love is very thematic to the Gemini Venus transit. And also, if you're an artist, or you know, this is a time where it might be easier to communicate your artistic ideas, communicate your artistic vision during this transit. It's a good time to speak about or write about your artistic vision during this time. And what else can I say about it? Yeah, those are the big ones, I think. I think that I hit the big points about the Venus and Gemini transit. And it's like, you know, depending on where it is in your chart and which house it's in, those are the kind of things that I could always get in if we do a one-on-one reading and it gets much more specific in detail. But June 14th, Jupiter in Sagittarius, again, Sagittarius is forming a semi-sextile with Saturn. So this is at 18, because now, remember, it's traveling backwards. So now it's, you know, it's exact for anyone who is an 18-degree Sagittarius, but I would say I'm going to give it a 2-degree orb, 16 degrees to 20 degrees Sagittarius. This is really going to be hitting you, but other Sagittarius may feel it too. It just depends on your sensitivity level, but, and, you know, and of course, what else is going on in your chart that it might be affecting. So that's why I always say contact me to have your own chart done. But Jupiter semi-sextile Saturn is good. It's a very good aspect for a practical sense for business and just conducting life in general. You know, Jupiter is the great benevolent, and Saturn is, you know, discipline and work and things like that. And so when they come together, it's very good for business, June 14th. And June 16th, Jupiter is forming a square with Neptune, and that's Jupiter at 18 degrees Sagittarius forming a square with Neptune at 18 degrees Pisces. So, Jupiter, anyone again from that 16 degrees to 20 degrees Sagittarius is really going to be feeling this. And again, Jupiter is the great benevolent. It's Jupiter expands, Jupiter enlarges, Jupiter graces. So this aspect, because it's a square, however, is a little bit of a different twist on the Jupiter energy, and it's with Neptune. Neptune is idealism and vision and spirituality, but it can also be confusion and disillusionment and chaos and confusion. And so when Jupiter squares Neptune, our capacity to believe enlarges and expands. And there can be a test of faith, because squares are tests and Jupiter is faith. So there can be a test of faith in the Neptunian principles of like your vision or of a religious or spiritual practice, in trusting an idealized version of a partner or a romantic interest, in being overly optimistic about any situation in general. So it's a good time to avoid gambling, avoid drugs, avoid financial speculation, avoid any situation where you could be gullible during that transit. And this is a long transit. It's exact on the 16th, but it's kind of it's been building since earlier this year, and it's kind of doesn't end until September. So this is a subtle thing. It's not like it'll be the main event in your life kind of transit, but it's something that you can be susceptible to during this time. So just be aware of it, So June 17th is the full moon in Sagittarius. So the Sagittarius full moon is your full moon, Sagittarius. Wow, this is a big month for Sagittarius. So the full moon, as you know, emotions are always heightened with the full moon. And under this full moon, Sagittarian themes are highlighted. So it's all about, it's a good time for travel, education, religion, philosophy, all of these kinds of big Sagittarian themes. And charge your crystals under the full moon, and so that they're ready to go for your next new moon intention, manifestation rituals. And then June 18th, Saturn is sextile Neptune, and that's Saturn in Capricorn, 18 degrees Capricorn, forming a sextile with Neptune at 18 degrees Pisces. And, Sagittarius is square Pisces, and so anyone who is born from 16 degrees to 20 degrees Sagittarius will probably feel this. And it could be, it's a very pleasant aspect, but it will be, because it's a square, it will probably be experienced as a test or a challenge when it comes up, although it's going to result in a very benevolent outcome because of, the Saturn sextile Neptune, it brings discipline to your and structure to your ideals, and it has to do with devotion to work and finding meaning in your work or traditions or customs, and it's about enjoying a sense of purpose in life. It's a time where material and spiritual goals can harmonize. Because it's brought on by a square, it can be a contrasting experience that brings you to this point. And so it's good to recognize that contrasting experience as being something that's leading you here, and look for that in the experience around that time. And then June 21st is a big day energetically. It's the summer solstice, and it is also Neptune goes retrograde, and the sun enters Cancer. So a lot is going on June 21st. The summer solstice is a big time. It's a shift in the season. It's the longest day of the year. It's a time to be outside. It's a time to celebrate Mother Nature. It's a time to be joyous. It's a time to have fun. And what else it's a time to reflect. It's a time of illumination and enlightenment. So it's a beautiful time of the year. Neptune going retrograde in Pisces at 18 degrees Pisces. Now this is going to be a significant aspect for anyone who's born 16 to 20 degrees Sagittarius. And now I've said it a few times, if you're 16 to 20 degrees Sagittarius, this is such a significant time for you. I would highly recommend that you contact me for a reading. And if you don't know the degree of your sun and the rest of your planets, then you should definitely have your birth chart done. And we can get more into this, but Neptune retrograde is very subtle. Neptune is all about subtlety and nuance, and because it moves slowly, it's something that creates a tone and a flavor over, you know, an area of your life over a period of time. And so, you know, we get together, we look at what house that's going through. I mean, in general, you know, for the Sagittarius rising personality, it's going to be in the house of home. And wherever Neptune moves through, it can cause, you know, it's about dreams, it's about ideals, but it can be chaos and confusion as well. So, you know, that's something to look at. And then June 21st, also, the sun enters Cancer. And, you know, Cancer season highlights all the Cancerian themes, and that's the mother, the feminine principles, mysticism, security, privacy, you know, emotions, things like that. So intuition, things like that. And that'll be that, you know, whole month. So, you know, reach out to your Cancer people and wish them happy birthday. And then June 24th, Jupiter's forming a quincunx with the true node. And again, Sagittarius, this is important to you. Now Jupiter at this point will be at 17 degrees Sagittarius. So this is going to be affecting anyone from 15 degrees, you know, to 20 degrees Sagittarius. And this could be a time when your religious, moral, or education values are at conflict with society, or it could be that you're having difficulty adjusting to social institutions around this aspect. And then June 25th, Uranus is forming a quintile with the true node, and that's Uranus at 5 degrees Taurus forming a quintile with the true node in Cancer. And Cancer and Taurus are both quincunx Sagittarius. I wouldn't worry about this aspect too much. If you're, it could affect you if you are, you may feel it if you're, you know, at 5 degrees Sagittarius or 17 degrees Sagittarius. I would look into this aspect. And June 26th, Mercury enters Leo. And when Mercury enters Leo, I think that this is a really favorable time for communication for Sagittarius. I think that you're feeling very expressive, you know, at the end of the month. You're passionate about your ideas. You're outgoing, you know, energetic. So that is the month in transits. And wow, I spent the longest time so far of all the signs on Sagittarius, but it's because it's an important time for Sagittarius. And please subscribe to my channel. Please share this video with other Sagittariuses that you know. Please follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.eliannicole. And thank you so much for joining me.